Week, we have been doing a number of stories about the upcoming vote to raise the sales tax this May.
The idea is that if the tax is approved, it would trigger a number of other changes that would pay to fix the roads.
24-Hour News 8 political reporter Rick Albin is here with some of the questions our stories have generated so far from viewers.
Yeah, and there will be a lot more questions and a lot more stories. We started taking a closer look at Prop 1 this week and give you as much detail as possible about what it does and what it does not do, where the money will go, and who's in favor and against of such a tax increase. This week we have been focusing on the advertising from both sides and exactly what the messages are and if those messages are accurate. Last night we looked at 4 television commercials, and mere moments after my report aired, I started getting emails. The emails show what we have intuitively known all along. This issue is going to elicit passionate feelings on both sides. Here are a couple that I've chosen to answer on the air. Sarah wrote last night, "Do not mean to nitpick, or maybe I do, but in your report on the opposing position ad, you indicated that groceries are not taxed, but there are taxable items such as toilet paper, shampoo, etc. at the grocery store. Just saying." You're right, Sarah. There are taxable items in virtually every store, and I had actually written and meant to say food and prescription drugs. In my haste, I said groceries. Thanks for pointing that out. My point was that this increasing sales tax will only apply to items that are currently under the sales tax, and the commercial that we were showing appears to portray a grocery or a food store. Could be misleading. Just saying. And Jim had this to say. "My opinion, Rick, is that our legislators evidently feel this is too hot of a topic to endorse a raise in the sales tax." He goes on to say, "A sales tax increase is not very creative. How about eliminating the jobs of 50% of the legislative body and take away their lifetime benefits? How much money would that generate each year? How creative would that be?" Well, on the creative scale, I'll give it a 7, Jim. Over the years, many viewers have advocated cutting legislators' salaries to fund everything from roads to schools and balancing the budget. So let's take a look at the math. Each legislator in Michigan makes roughly $75,000 a year. Actually, it's a little less than that. There are 148 members of the House and Senate. 148 times 75,000 is $11,100,000. So even if you took all of the lawmakers' salaries, it would be far short of what's needed. The governor estimates based on those folks who keep track of what it would cost to build and repair roads is that the state of Michigan needs $1.2 billion a year, every year for the next decade. So eliminating lawmakers' salaries entirely would leave that goal about $1,188,900,000 short. In other words, cutting salaries would generate less than 1% of the money needed. It just goes to show the difficulty of how finding that much money in the existing state pool would be. It's not to say that it wouldn't be possible, but it would mean fundamentally changing how other parts of government would be funded, and some couldn't be funded at all. Going forward, you're going to hear from supporters and opponents as to why they think you should approve or vote down the May 5th ballot proposal. And we're going to try to answer more of your questions as we go along. So I want you to feel free to email me. My email address should be right there on the screen. Remember, we'll try to answer some of them on the air. And we have an entire series of programs, or a series of reports, I should say, that we'll be bringing you to talk about all of the nuance. Where does the money go? How will it be collected? How much more will you pay? How much of it goes to roads? All of that's coming up. Brian, Sue?